Hi, Jocelyn. All right, so I just want to review these properties real quick. So the product property says that if your arguments are being multiplied, we can split it up by adding. Okay? And then you can go the opposite way. When we're condensing to make it smaller, if you're adding, then you can multiply the products. The quotient property says if you're dividing, you take the log of the numerator minus the log of the denominator. And we can go the opposite way too. If we're condensing, if we're subtracting, then we can take u divided by v. And then the power property says that we can bring the exponent down if we're expanding, and then we can bring it up if we're condensing. Okay, so it looks like A and B were good for you. Okay, C. So again, let me see if we can do both of these at the same time. Okay, so for C, this is the quotient property. So we're dividing, so we're going to take the top minus the bottom. So natural log of the numerator, I'm putting it in parentheses, minus the natural log of the denominator. So again, that's u and v. So u and v. Okay, then we don't have u and v are not being multiplied. I think that's where you went wrong, is that you split each of these up into addition, but these are terms. They're not factors. So you see, in order to use the product property, it has to be that u is being multiplied by v. Well, this doesn't say x squared times 3x times negative 4, right? They're not being multiplied, and that's why you cannot use the product property like you used. So this says where the arguments are completely simplified, which is why I talked about factoring in class. So this argument is not completely simplified because we can factor it into x minus 4 times x plus 1. And now we have the product property, right? Here's my argument, and we're multiplying x minus 4 times x plus 1, right? U times v, x minus 4 times x plus 1. So now we can split this up with addition using the product property. So natural log of x minus 4 plus the natural log of x plus 1 minus the natural log of x plus 6. Okay, this is a difficult one because we've never had one that factors like this. So that's why this one was difficult. But yeah, this you can't use the product property for because they're not being multiplied. These are 3 terms that are being subtracted. All right, for D. So, yep, okay. So again, product property, numerator, denominator. So natural log of x plus 3 minus the natural log of x times y. So that's just our quotient property, right? We did the numerator minus the denominator. And now here we have the product property, u times v, so we can split that part up with addition. This is x times y, so we're going to split this part up with addition. And then why I put it in brackets is because we're eventually going to have to distribute this minus sign. So that's minus, and then I'm going to split this up because they're being multiplied. We can do the natural log of x plus the natural log of y, and that's the product property. But we're subtracting this whole thing, so we have to subtract and subtract. So we have to distribute that minus sign. We get minus natural log of x minus the natural log of y. All right, let me keep looking through your review guide. Okay, so for this next one, we're condensing. So we're going to bring up the exponent. So this becomes plus log base b of 4 minus x squared raised to the 1/3 power. And so log base b of 3 minus log base b of x. So we have to read this left to right. Addition is the product property. So we're condensing, so we're going to multiply the arguments. So we're going to multiply 3 and this argument. So log base b of 3 times Now, because we're condensing, we want to change the 1/3 power into the cubed root. Okay, because we're condensing. So I just changed that into the cubed root. Again, we multiplied these two arguments. And then our last step is now we're subtracting log base b of x. So subtracting means I'm going to divide. That's my quotient property. So now I'm just going to erase this. Let's take that divided by this argument x. So there's our final answer. All right, you have a star on the next one, so it looks like B is good. You have a star on 6A. So 6B, let's see, you multiplied. Okay, so when you multiplied these arguments, the 3x plus 6 times the x minus 8, you don't need to pull a 3 out of here because we're not factoring. We're multiplying these arguments together. So then you can just go ahead and FOIL that. And when we FOIL that, we get 3x squared minus 24x plus 6x minus 48. Okay, so that's where you went wrong there. Wasn't supposed to do next step. Yeah, so we're not factoring, which is why you don't pull out the 3 here. If we were, you would, but we're multiplying, right? So we just we FOIL that. And now we have this argument equals this argument. We put all the terms on one side, so minus 8x plus 1, minus 8x plus 1. And let's drop the logs. And so now we have 3x squared. Negative 24 plus 6 is negative 18. Negative 18 minus 8 is negative 26x. So I just combine all my x terms. And then negative 48 plus 1 is negative 47 equals 0. And then from there, I use the quadratic formula to solve. Okay, that quadratic formula, that was a beast because we get 26 plus or minus the square root of 1,240, which is a really big number. So yeah, you won't have anything that hard on the test, but this did have a perfect square factor of 4. And so it did simplify to 2 square root of 310 over 6. And then all of these outside numbers simplified. So yeah, that was a beast because that's a pretty big number, and 4 is the biggest perfect square factor that goes into it. So you won't have anything that hard on the test, but yeah, it is important to understand this step. So you tried to factor it when really we just wanted to FOIL this. First, outer, inner, last. Okay, so this one... I'm so sorry. This is my bad. I meant to change, yours says 3. I meant to change it to a 2. I am so sorry. So this was I'm so sorry because I had to make copies on Sunday, so I couldn't print out. I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell you guys to change that. That is definitely my fault. I even put a Post-it note on it so I didn't forget, but I didn't look at it during class. So I'm really sorry. That's probably why that one didn't make sense. So yeah, you moved... Everything you did was perfect. Everything you did was perfect. So you moved, oops. Oh, okay. So yeah, you're good. Negative 1 equals log base of x squared minus 10 all over. And then I'm going to change the 3 to a 2, but let's bring the 2 up so that this is really log of x squared. Okay? Because we're condensing. That's part of what we're supposed to do is condense. So we just condensed it by bringing the exponent up, which I just changed to a 2 instead of a 3. So that's my bad. And then, but we don't need the other log here. There just should be one log because this was using our quotient property. So it should look like this. And now we're swirling. So the common log is really log base 10. So 10 to the negative first power equals x squared minus 10 over x squared. Okay, 10 to the negative first. Let me make sure you can see this because I'm not looking at. Okay, well, there we go. So 10 to the negative first, I'm going to change that into 1/10. And then let's multiply both sides by x squared to get that out of the denominator. So we have x squared over 10 equals x squared minus 10. Now let's get 10 out of the denominator, so multiply this side by 10, and we get x squared on the left side, and then we get 10x squared minus 100 on the right side. Okay, our constant's already on the right side, so let's subtract 10x from both sides, and that's negative 9x squared equals negative 100. Divide both sides by negative 9, and we get x squared equals positive 100 over 9. Square root both sides, and we get x equals plus or minus, square root of 100 is 10, square root of 9 is 3. So we had perfect squares, which was really helpful because that simplified really nicely. But the negative ends up being extraneous. So therefore we just get 10/3 for our answer. As a decimal, that's approximately 3.33. Okay, but all I would ask you on the test is x equals, and you would just tell me 10/3, or you could tell me 3.33. Okay, so when you condense, you didn't need the log on the top and the log on the bottom like you have. It's just the quotient property. Let's look at the quotient property, right? It's just one log here. It's not log over log. It's just log of u over v. So that would have helped you on that one. And your last page looks good. Okay, I hope this helps. I know it's right before the quiz that I'm sending this to you, so I don't even know if you're going to have a chance to look over it, but hopefully you'll have a chance before class starts. And I had a meeting this morning, so I'm really sorry for getting this to you so late.